And I am a caretaker. I have never met a more intense group of quiet Christians that literally walked the walk. It's not a talk about service to others. This church is here for everyone and here for the community and doing the work that Christ asked us to do for each other. I don't want to be, I've got no opinion about other churches that might not have chosen to do this, but it's always a qualm for people in the homeless community. How many buildings are being kept warm and safe and quiet and dry while all of this homelessness is going on around? Why without sharing this to a degree that I never even foresaw? And it's been amazing. I am so grateful for all of the help within the homeless community that showed up when it was just me trying to figure this out brand new. And all of our other help was out sick. And this is what it's translated to, is all the people who kept showing up and volunteering and helping ended up being the people that are helping run what we're doing right now. And people have taken on the want to share this gift, and every person in this building is doing that. Unplanned, sometimes irritatingly so, but every person in here is able now to be of service to people outside of this building. Every single person in here has a unique thing to offer that I wouldn't have even considered because it wasn't my experience. Because there's my intention and then there's God's intention. And right in the middle of that is like this magical little pocket of air. And I think that's where grace lives. Grace lives right in between our intentions and God's intentions. And that's when organic moments happen. And I've seen so many of those moments of grace that had nothing to do with me, merely because I have a key and I live under this roof. And I get to see grace being bestowed on people hundreds of times a day. And that makes me feel good. I feel safe and inspired and excited. And it's contagious. Everybody got really creative with sharing food, preparing food, and paying for food. And when the discussion was brought up, how much is the church really going to fund this living experience for all of these people? Everyone's answer to that was, they shouldn't have to. We can figure this out on our own. And then having everyone be really creative with it, taking money out of their own pockets to not just feed everyone inside, but to feed everybody outside too. We went from putting out just coffee and sugar and Starla wanting to do breakfast burritos down at the Azatlan once a week to preparing 60 or 70 meals for one meal for dinner. They put out 62 meals last night and they are gone before we wake up in the morning. And all we're doing is preparing and putting it out, but everybody here came together because there wasn't a single person in here that felt like we were going to keep this all to ourselves. See it or not, your congregation is huge, and it extends past the grass and into the parking lot, and all of the people that sleep through service on Sunday know that this is a safe place to come. And the patience of this congregation, and that you have had faith in funding the work at this church, is why all of these people are here today. Had you guys not had faith in the bigger picture, or knew that the need was there, by staying home, you guys provided a home for people temporarily which means these people are going to pick up where your good works left off.
If
Anybody that chose to stay chose to make this place home for the time being. And these are all people that would share their home with anybody who needed it. We are failing serving the homeless, and the homeless know what the solutions are. People just need to listen. And there's finally a well-rested group of people that found home here and want to help be what's needed. Food is not what's needed as much. Nobody on the streets is hungry for food. Every single homeless person out here, what they're hungry for is compassion, understanding, empathy. I'm just the number of things you're hungry for when you're homeless, none of it is food. This is where you go. This is where people show up to find out what's going on. Where are people? If you just get out of jail, this is going to be the first building you walk to, because you know someone here is going to help you reconnect. Put a hot cup of... This isn't a church where I hear people talk about God a ton. We talk about real human needs and how to meet them and how outrageous all these failings are. We don't evangelize here. We work. And we show up and we have blind faith. And we know that the system is broken and that change needs to occur. Or homeless, all you get is resistance. Every single place you look, you turn, you get your needs met, there's some sort of major pullback or humiliating, shameful thing where you're standing in line at a soup kitchen in the snow to get fed. Now that the Mennonite Church is back in charge of its entire building 7 days a week, it's an excellent opportunity to do some long-term homeless services where people who are homeless are the ones providing that service and passing it along. To do something different, because there is a huge disparity in power and control. And when you're homeless, everyone else has all the power and control, whether it's the cops or it's Catholic Charities, and you're getting kicked out the door at 6 a.m. in the middle, to wake up in the wintertime to walk for 18 hours. There is a power exchange there. And if you're homeless, you know what it feels like to have no power. But the best people to serve the homeless community are people who have been homeless. And this is an opportunity to do something here with people that have been there, have now had time to collect themselves and pass this blessing on and make their plans for their next steps. And all these people out here that have been being of service because you guys opened the doors. Everyone here is in service of this church, of this building, planting flowers, cleaning, cooking, serving. Nothing has changed from what we did on the weekends. We just do it 7 days a week now. And we're able to do that because this church let me come in and do that and had faith in me. When you lose connection with the population you're trying to serve, and when you start to think you own the services or the resources that you're giving to homeless people. I had a homeless guy tell me at the mission one time, the most dangerous thing is when the helpers start to think they own the help that they're giving. And I will never, ever forget that, because what we're giving away, nobody owns this. And you guys are choosing to share it, and you're not able to see immediately how life-changing that is just to be able to sleep in and take a shower every day, and what that can do to shore you up so that you can give it back and move forward. And it is not going to happen for every person. People are going to fail. Things are going to break. I think that being homeless is traumatizing. And that doesn't go away when you're housed. I've seen the trauma on every person here that lives here and the people that have left. It was uncomfortable to come inside and live here for a lot of people. There isn't a single person out there that didn't question whether they made a very good decision. Like, new to this whole Christian thing, I found the biggest part of my healing from all of my trauma and my journey at a right-wing evangelical church in southern Colorado. And this is the church that I come to. This church couldn't be any more of the exact opposite of my home church in Monument. But when I saw the verse in Corinthians about I walk by faith, not by sight, I realized that I've done that my entire life. I don't need to see that there's something bigger. I've always known there was. And there isn't a single day that goes by that I am not graced with witnessing what it's like to just walk in faith. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't feel honored to witness somebody's courage and walk. It's like that just fill my heart, because I got to witness two people speak with raw, brutal honesty about their own shortcomings and their needs to two people or three people they don't really know at all. I didn't know anybody here. Just because we're homeless together doesn't mean that we know each other. I got to know these people here, and I had to watch two new people come in and just in their speak with raw, brutal honesty, and they weren't worried what the people in that room were going to do with that honesty. And that takes courage. Those two men spoke with courage and had faith that that was the right thing to do. Just watching that raw, courageous honesty and just putting your flaws and your shortcomings just right at somebody's feet. And then having faith that this is a safe place to do that. It's real easy to forget what the goal is when you create a system and a program and all of this stuff, and then these really difficult, traumatized people are who you're serving, and then you get burnout, but you still hold the keys and the checkbook and the da-da-da-da, and you're still, somewhere in all of that, there is room for a healthy balance. But thinking that you're in charge when you do human service work and that what you're giving to people is yours to give away is ludicrous, and it's dangerous. It is dangerous because it more often than not becomes an absolute sick abuse of power. It's arrogance to think that anybody here has a clue what's going to solve one person's particular homeless situation. We change when we are ready and the environment is right. In that organic moment, that moment of grace with our intention and God's intention, that's where change happens. That's where the crossroads is. And nobody gets to define what that looks like. And the tipping point is always some weird little thing. It's never, okay, you have had 73 days of warmth over your head. Nobody gets to define what someone else's tipping point is. For the most part, nobody even knows where the exact tipping point in their lives and their stories are. But it's just like the butterfly effect. It's not very often you get to witness a chain of events, like a butterfly flapping its wings and a tsunami occurring in Japan. But that's what this human experience is about. It's a chain of events, and I know that there's purpose behind it, but we don't get to define when a service we provide is the tipping point into someone's success or failure. But the fact that we have a growing population of homeless people in this entire nation, that's evidence of us failing each other. And if you just start with the basics and get real good at what you do, like Steve, you always say, let's do what we do, but let's do that well before adding all of this, because I want to do it all. I want to have a clothing thing here. And then I was here long enough that I was like, I don't ever want to give out clothes from here again. That was a nightmare. But people aren't homeless because they're crazy and on drugs or are drinking. Chicken or the egg there, good luck staying sane and sober while you're trying to stay warm walking 18 hours a day. And yet I get to witness people doing it every day. Homeless people aren't crazy, drunk drug addicts. They just don't have what you guys have, and that's a home. And this church chose to provide a home for people who really needed it in a really unexpected situation of a pandemic. So by staying home, you guys gave homes to people, but it's this congregation's patience and eyes on the bigger picture is what allows that tiny, beautiful, safe moment that absolutely has been and will continue to be the tipping point in people's lives. If we make sure that we provide more tipping points forward than backward, we don't get to decide when this all gets better, but at least we're being a part of the solution.